Yo, what's good, Spirit Squad? It's been a while since I've seen y'all, so what's up? How's life, everybody? Let me know in the comments. And a lot of the reason I haven't seen y'all is because I actually just picked up a new 9 to 5 lately, so that's been taking up quite a bit of time that I would otherwise be spending playing Magic and recording for y'all. So that's kind of what happened there. So good news all around. Anyway, what we've got going on here is a Spirits Midrange list that I've kind of hinted at on Twitter, and if you're subscribed to the Patreon, then you will have already seen a deck list for this, complete with a whole sideboard guide and everything. So, what we've got going on here is, well, as Nikachu said, basically just put a lot of the sideboard in the main deck. So what we got going on here is 4 copies of Portable Hole in the main, 2 copies of Memory Deluge, 2 copies of Wandering Emperor, and this way we've got a lot more of a top end when compared to things like the Curious Obsession version of Spirits. And you'll notice that this is not that. We are not playing Curious Obsession, Spectral Sailor, Spell Pierce, Slip Out the Back, most of the one-drop interaction, because we're trying to go a little bit bigger and better. To that end, we've got the same Rattle Chains and new toys, Selfless Spirit, finally, and of course the one that everybody's excited for, Spell Queller. Woo! So, finally on Arena, super exciting times, and I plan on jamming the absolute crap out of this card until I'm pretty much not allowed to anymore. So, really hyped for this, and this has been something that I've been asking for to reach Arena for literal years now, so thanks, Wizards, we made it. We've got Cemetery Illuminators in the main deck here, and this is a card that I floated in and out of decks like Curious Obsession Spirits, like Mono Blue and Azorius, both versions. I've played Cemetery Illuminator and been pretty happy with it in decks like Bant that are trying to go just a little bigger, and playing these in the main give us accidental upside against things like Greasefang in Game 1, because this deck is not playing things like Shacklegeist or Nebelgast Herald to help make that matchup really easy. So we've got things like Cemetery Illuminator, which are good against both that and things like Kroxa out of the Rakdos midrange decks. We're also playing 2 copies of Brazen Borrower here, and this has kind of a lot of jobs. It's really good against green-red, it's decent against green-white, it's great against Shark Typhoon tokens. There's a lot of jobs that Brazen Borrower has, and if you want to play more than 2 in this list, I can't really say as I would blame you. Our counterspell suites, well, pretty sweet. We've got 4 Mausoleum Wanderers, Lofty Denials, of course, the Spell Quellers, but we're also going to be playing 2 copies of Absorb, since we do want to just have more hard counters in this deck that's looking to go just a little bit longer. This way, we're not necessarily stuck with the problem of, oh crap, I've got Spell Pierce against Mono White, or, oh crap, I'm playing against Blue White Control and it's turn 10, what's my Spell Pierce going to do? So here we're just going to be playing 2 copies of Absorb, and I'm specifically choosing Absorb because the gain 3 life in a deck that's both a little bit slower and also not playing any Wrath effects in the main deck, the 3 life might end up being really relevant against some decks. And of course the card that I've been liking on and off, Spectral Adversary. So this is admittedly a kind of pet card that I've really loved, and it's not exactly the best in most metas and really most Spirit lists. But the idea behind this card is that it's pretty decent early. It's an early flash threat that lets you keep up things like Lofty Denial, but also just like pressures life total against slower decks. But also, when you have a bunch of mana later on, you can do things like phasing your opponent's stuff if they're in the middle of trying to attack you, or you can have it play a pseudo Rattle Chains role where you get to protect your own things with the multi-kicker ability. Especially if you have like 6+ mana and your opponent's resolving a Supreme Verdict, where you're just like, okay, Spectral Adversary, I'm going to pay 4 mana, save my other 2 threats, this adversary dies, nice 1-for-1 on your Supreme Verdict, untap, I still have threats. So that's still totally an available option with a card like Spectral Adversary. Our mana base is going to resemble the Azorius Spirit's mana base that we have here, almost to the letter. Except we're playing 24 lands instead of 22, since we know we are trying to play bigger cards. To that end, all I've done here is just put in 2 copies of Deserted Beach. Basically everything else is the same. Hall of Storm Giants is still going to be our land of choice to kill people. We've got Iganjo and Otawara, a bunch of good duels, especially now that this exists, and just 2 more so that we can be at 24. So far, I'm liking the land count. Our sideboard is going to be a lot of what our regular Azorius Spirits build with Curious Obsession was doing anyway. We've got 3 Aether Gusts for things like Gruul, Mono Green Devotion, and the occasional Mono Red aggro deck, 2 copies of Mystical Dispute, I don't know whether this is going to be the final number of disputes I play, especially since, unlike Pioneer, Mono Blue Spirits is all over Explorer specifically. So we'll see if I don't want more than 2 down the road. We're also playing copies each of Baneslayer and Lyra, and the Angel package does a few things, right? Like, we're going to be pretty decent against a lot of the life aggressive decks that are trying to decrease our life total. That's what I was looking for. And that's going to be things like mono white, mono red, Rakdos midrange, Gruul vehicles. There's a lot of creatures in Pioneer. And being specifically Angels has the really big upside of telling the Rakdos power word kills to kind of fuck themselves. So having a couple of Angels where your opponent's specifically playing a kill spell that says non-angel creatures, not going to have the best time against these things. We're playing a couple copies of Dovin's Veto because we do want to make sure we have a real plan against blue-white control, but also against Is It Creativity. Both of those decks are going to be things that are just trying to fire off big, giant, powerful things, but also have the ability to play Mystical Dispute. So having something like Dovin's Veto that can just give the middle finger to a giant spell and not give your opponent the option to say anything about it, that's exactly where I want to be in life. Against Rakdos, once again, we've got Reckoner Bankbusters. I don't really know that this card needs an explanation. 2 copies of Unlicensed Hearse. It's not like Phoenix exists in this format because there's still no Delve spells, but Greasefang certainly does. And since we're not playing Shacklegeist or Nebelgast Herald, we do appreciate a little bit of sideboard help against that deck. And then 2 copies of Settled Wreckage. Once again, Mono White's name is all over this card, but it's got a lot of other jobs too. So like if we're playing against like vehicles, Mono Red, green-white auras, this card's got a lot of potential jobs. So that's enough jibber jabber. Let's get into some gameplay. Words. Oh, poop. Well, welcome to round 1, y'all. And I guess I get to complain a little here about not having had my microphone on this entire time. That's embarrassing. But well, you know, it's a little while, so my lovely Lofty is not going to do anything here, which is kind of sad times. So let's untap. The adversary isn't that bad, but now I am kind of on the back foot here because I do have Absorb up, which is super nice, and they can get an attack in. Can't really do too much about that. Also don't really want to here. See if they cast something that I can absorb post-combat. No? Okay. So here, that's actually pretty good for me. So I'm just going to get to keep making land drops here. I will take a hit of 5 if they don't do anything else. It looks like they're not going to. And then end of turn, I can just like Wandering Emperor. So I don't necessarily mind that. If they cast a Seeker's Chariot, I can absorb it. Most other plays, I don't know that I have to care. I can just Wandering Emperor, get rid of this, end of turn, untap, make a 2/2 and be happy about that. I'm also pretty happy with this. So now they've attacked my face, I can play my Wandering Emperor, make this. No, I'll do this first. So I was going to say I can make a 2/2, block here, take 7, go down to 7, but I can just do this. Take this, go to 12, untap, and I could still make a token if I really wanted to. But I think I want to take their attention away from this for 1 turn. Yeah, so doing this allows me to... I mean, I'm missing a land drop, which makes me sad, right? But in the instance where they just fire up Lair to Hydra and try to clear out Wandering Emperor here, what I'll get to do is activate my Spectral Adversary, use the kicker to get rid of Lair to Hydra, because this doesn't say anything about non-land, and then I can block on the Llanowar Elves, keeping this alive, untapping, doing the cool things, and then kind of keeping my life moving here. I can also... yeah. Well, looks like that plan's going to work. But I was going to say I could also just, like, play you as a 2/1 and then Lofty something if need be, but it looks like I'm not even going to need to worry about that. They are going to attack. Sick. So now I get to do this. We do our kicker ability, go away, block here, and now life is pretty great for just one of us. So I am going to do that since I don't get to... yes, I would rather have this in play than worry about Memory Deluge. All right, go. So now I've got Spell Queller, Absorb, Lofty Denial, and we are in the driver's seat, ladies and gentlemen. So what do I want them to do here? I guess I want them to just try to like resolve a Sky Sovereign, really? That's kind of almost best case. They could fire this up again, and that would be like super best case, but a Crowan War. They only have 3 mana left after that. So I think what I want to do is Spell Queller, knowing that this will get to 2 power and can counter an Obliterating Bolt. Yeah, because Obliterating Bolt's a sorcery, so they can't like respond to the Mausoleum Wanderer trigger or anything like that. So we probably get a concession here? No? Alright. Oh, opponent, I guess I'm proud of you. 4, 5, 6, 7. There's no point to putting you as a 3/4 because it still doesn't fade Obliterating Bolt. Nah, I'm still gonna do it. So in the event that this matters, right? Because it fades a Sky Sovereign in case they, I don't know, cast 2 big things that I really have to care about. So I guess that's a thing that maybe we needed to consider here. But I'm not close to sad about the way this is going at all. Like I've got Lofty, I've got Absorb, I've got Deluge. I even have this if I really need to do something next turn. But we had a whole lot of gas there, and they kind of petered out and drew a lot of lands. So we want the Aether Gusts. I want the 2 Angels. I don't know that I want Settle the Wreckage here. I don't expect to have time for Memory Deluges, and Cemetery Illuminator doesn't really have much play here because it's not like they're using their graveyard in literally any way. And I'm going to take out one of the 2 Selfless Spirits here. I think I like that. So Selfless is okay when you have something kidnapped with a Spell Queller, right? But it's not like actually great in this matchup because it's not like we're trying to carry things with a Curious Obsession on them. That makes the Selfless Spirits really good in the more traditional Azorius build. But in this build, there's no one creature that we're really trying to play to protect the Queen with. So I'm pretty happy to just kind of like not have both Selfless Spirits in. They're pretty decent cards, but not like, oh man, I really need this here. Okay, we're on the draw. We've got Portable Hole, Lofty Lyra. I'm here for all of this. This hopefully puts a damper on a turn 2 Reckless Stormseeker. And most other things they could be doing on turn 2, I can probably deal with. So we don't see Gigantha. So it could be like, I don't know, Werewolf Pack Leader or something. And most of those things I'm okay-ish with. Llanowar Elves, okay. So now I can at least put the hurt on a turn 3 Isika's Chariot with these. And if I get to untap, that makes it even better. But it looks like that's not what's going to happen here. We're going to play Mage Crusher, which is pretty good. Like, they could get rid of the oil counter down the road to rebuy their elf, and that's not the worst. So I'm not going to block here. I'm just going to put this in play so that my Lofties actually do something. Hall of Storm Giants is not bad for a play here because I already don't plan on blocking with this. And I don't have a thing that I want a 3rd mana for here. So I'm okay to just like play this tapped, untap, play this, have these, and that doesn't make me too sad. So I still want something to deal with this in a turn or 2, but hey, go on somewhere. So now I have 3 cards. I've got Rattle Chains, which is actually not bad. And I've got the combo of either just like holding this, bouncing this end of turn, or Rattle Chains plus Lofty, Vigilance and Menace. I don't care about that. I already wasn't planning on doing anything about that. So I'm going to go to 11 here. I presume they're going to play something post-combat. Llanowar Elves I don't care about. Are we playing a removal? No. So what can I do here? I can bounce this with Otawara, but that gets rid of my ability to cast Lyra, which is already in hand, and it stops me from being able to protect you with Rattle Chains, but then you don't have a big giant threat in play, and I'm holding up Lofty plus Rattle Chains if you don't have Bone Crusher Giant Stomp for here. If I just untap and attack and then play Lyra, I could get a Crowan Ward, which is pretty bad. So I think I actually am just going to untap. And Aether Gust is actively a great draw. So Crowan Ward doesn't give haste, which is probably pretty important to know. So what do I want to do here? I think I still just want to jam Lyra down their throat. So jamming Lyra does lose to exactly the card Fry. So if they're playing that instead of Rending Valleys, that could suck. If they have a Crowan War, then I have Aether Gust to bounce the Crowan War. I can untap and Lofty it, especially since I can Aether Gust in the middle of combat too. So like if they attack with this without giving it Menace, oh crap, they have Fry. Oh, they're literally playing Fry. Okay, so I guess we did talk about that, but is this gonna be like a Sky Sovereign now? Oh, there's a Stormseeker I was gonna complain about earlier. Okay, so now to give it self haste, I get hit for 7. I go down to 4. Ruh-roh Raggy, and another Lofty. I think we're going to game 3, y'all. So they did have exactly Fry in their deck instead of Rending Valley, which is pretty miserable. And it actually changes what I want to do there. So I'm going to settle the wreckage. So most of these folks aren't actually playing the card Fry, which is why I'm like, it's on my radar, but I'm not going to play around it too often. I'm more used to seeing Rending Valley, which is still very good, obviously, against us. But 4 is super different from 5, and this hand is actually pretty decent. So, I don't know, TLDR version, I guess. I'm not super sad about having walked into something I was aware of, but not ultra concerned with. I think I'm actually just gonna chill and like threaten a block, right? Like if they attack, I can just play Spectral Adversary and then like block this and make them sad. Scavenging Ooze. I don't really give a shit about that at all. Do it. Yeah, boy. So now I get to keep my Rattle Chain. My Mausoleum Wanderer's a 2/2. I can just do this. And yes, they can pump with this later on, but like I don't really think I care about that. So now I'm gonna... Oh, why didn't I just play this? Whoops. Oh well. Still gonna do it. Mistakes were made. I hope that point of life doesn't matter. Okay, so now we've got 3 mana. If they play a Reckless Stormseeker, I've got a lovely Lofty with its name all over it. If they play most other things, then I've got Rattle Chains to stop them from like messing up my board, because my board is certainly a lot better than theirs right now. And on this next turn, I suppose, what would I like to draw? Yeah, I'm not doing anything about that. I suppose I'd like to draw a Portable Hole for the Scavenging Ooze. That would probably be close to optimal, but there's a lot of things that I wouldn't really hate, right? Like I wouldn't hate a Wandering Emperor by any means. I wouldn't hate seeing another counterspell. Or I just get exactly the thing I ask for every single time with no questions asked. Thank you, deck. I love you too. Magic the Gathering, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's get our attacking. So what do I want to do here? Just like take 2. If they Bone Crusher Giant, I can sack one of these to stop that nonsense. If they Fry here, then I don't really think I care. I would rather hold this up for something like a Sickish Chariot than worry about saving this thing's ass. Okay. And it is going to be the Stomp, so we'll just do that and stop that shenanigans. You're allowed. So go ahead and take your 3. And now I can play this tapped. We're not taking life against the green-red deck. And, yeah. Mutavault, okay. Noted. Luckily, we're kind of past the point of the game where Mutavault's still good at all, so I'm not sad about that. Llanowar Elves, don't care. And it looks like we're just going to get to untap. Eiganjo, okay. So I actually don't hate land drops because we do have our Hall of Storm Giants on the table. So the faster we can get to 7 lands, that means the faster that we'll actually like start being able to get to attack here. And here's where I will use the Rattle Chains, knowing full well that I still have Lofty Denial for a copy of something like the Crowan War. So that's not going to happen. You can take your 4, go down to 9. I will be playing Eiganjo just as a land. And let's see what our opponent is cooking with here. So 3 cards to 1 is not exactly the life I want to live if we're talking, well, make that 2. 2 cards to 1 isn't the life I want to live if we're in like a longer game scenario here. But my 1 card's a counterspell, and I've got a much more threatening board. So I think I'm alright with this. Boseiju, Portable Hole, getting back that, sure. Yes, I will very happily get a land, and we are not going to take 2. Get that out of my face. So now if we draw a land, our Hall of Storm Giants is just on because they gave us a land with Boseiju. So that's kind of cool. You can attack here if you really wanted to. Oh, that's even worse. All right. That's not lethal, but it's very close. So now I can phase out 2 things. So if they want to have access to Scavenging Ooze plus whatever they play here, then that's pretty nice. If they have, I don't know, an Crowan War or something to deal with one of our creatures, we can phase out a whole bunch of stuff. They can try to gain life and then, like, I don't know, attack with this maybe. There's a few different things they can do, but currently I don't know that those things really matter. They can go to a maximum of 5, 6, 7 life, which is nowhere near enough to protect against this. Red. Ah, Mage Crusher. Does that do anything? I think the answer is no. Vigilance and Menace, +2. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Yeah, that doesn't do anything. All right, sick. So it looks like we've won this round. And they can go up to 5, but I still have 5 on board. So, like, we just do not care. And if they want to... Yeah, I was gonna say, if they want to, like, go to 6 and I'll take 1, they can go to 7 here and I'll take another, and that's all well and good. So I'm just gonna do this, phase out both of their things, and then, like, not even take the 5. So, yeah. I assume they're gonna pack it up here, but we'll see what happens. Because we are the ones with lethal. Heck yeah. Look at us go. 1-0. Okay, we are on the draw. No companion revealed, so we don't know what our opponent's doing. And this hand, well, I'm going to try it. Because if they're playing something low to the ground, this is really good. And if they're not, this is really bad. So, well, I don't mind your thought seizing me then. So they're taking the Lofty Denial. And I don't really know that I mind drawing a Wandering Emperor then. If this is just like Rakdos midrange and I can pitch one of these to get rid of like a, oh, card titles are difficult, to get rid of a Graveyard Trespasser, I'll be pretty alright with that, since I probably don't have too many other jobs for Portable Hole in this matchup. Thoughtseize. Yeah, you can get rid of either Rattlechains or Wandering Emperor then. And they choose to get rid of the Emperor. I draw a Lofty, which is actually not bad. So let's see what happens here. If they play just like, oh, Misery Shadow, I actually don't think I care about that. I've got the Portable Holes, so I might as well give them some kind of job, right? Do I bother putting in Rattlechains with them at 15? I think the answer is no. Draw land. No? Okay. That's fine. I can still Portable Hole, get rid of this. I'm going to play the Mausoleum Wanderer since A, I just don't have a better play anyway, but also, if they're going to miss a land drop, I would really love to pressure their life total and make it a problem. So this is probably a Trespasser, but if it's just like a Kiki Jiki, I don't know that I mind. I would really love to draw exactly one more land though. So it is a Kiki Jiki. Since I have Portable Holes, oh, come on, give me a land. All right. Gross. I think I actually have to leave up the Lofty Denial here because they can pitch lands. I'm sorry, they can pitch into lands, rather. Getting rid of the Trespassers I was worried about earlier. But now they can just, like, jam a Shieldred? A Thoughtseize. Yuck. Okay, so that means that they're going to be able to take the Lofty Denial and use this turn attacking to get a treasure and then resolve a Shieldred, which I can't do anything about. Oh, that's fine. I mean, I don't know about fine, but it's going to happen, and I'm much more okay with that than a Shieldred coming down my throat. So I'm going to do this, give itself hexproof so that I can still not block, but I can develop a, yeah, all right. So I can develop a reasonable clock is what I was going for, and it looks like it worked. So I want Baneslayer, Lyra, and 2 Bankbusters against them. Cards that I don't really care too much about include these 4 Portable Holes. So we saw a Misery Shadow, but I still don't think I care too much about those. And I think I would prefer to have just about all the rest of these cards. Ew, 1-landers, absolutely not deck. That's much better. Once again, I'm going to pitch the Hallowed Fountain knowing that I have 1, 2, 3. And as soon as turn 2 starts, I can have a whole lot of options. And I don't even know that I care that they discard this. Like, I mean, I care. There's, you know, a lot worse fates. The second Selfless Spirit might not even be that bad. A lot of Rakdos lists will sideboard into things like, like Ritual of Soot. So I'm not exactly the saddest about having that as an available option. Here they can just like jam a 3/3 down my throat. Do I care about that? Not really. So I'll just get rid of these 2. They know I have a land drop, but like, and it's not like I'm a graveyard deck. So don't get me wrong, I'm not exactly the world's happiest about that line, but I'm also not the world's saddest. Here they can just like resolve a Shieldred and I can't do much about that. Misery Shadow's fine. Oh, that's pretty good for me. So let's get an attack in, take him down to 14. And what do we got going on here? Looks like a Steaming Pile of Nothing, which I do enjoy seeing that from my opponents. They can catch a Rattlechains related hands here. Oh, it's a Bone Crusher Giant. Okay. Well, that's gonna suck. So, no Bone Crusher Giant for you. And I really want them to Thoughtseize me so I can, like, show them this Iganjo. Bone Crusher Giant there. Ugh, do I even... Yeah, alright. Do you have a second removal spell? No, you don't. Okay. So at least now I can just, like, block the Misery Shadow if they try to attack. And it looks like they're not going to try to attack, which is, of course, correct. But, you know, you can always hope, right? So what do I want to do here? I can play Iganjo as a land, which I think I like. Yeah. Disgusting, but happens. I can't do anything about that currently. Obviously not a fan. So what do I want to draw here? I guess an Angel? Well, that was certainly not the draw deck. That was not the draw. Oh my god, that was terrible. All right. Yeah. So they do that. They go to 12. I am 1 land short of... Oh man. Yeah. So I don't actually want to Queller a Thoughtseize because I want them to lose the 2 life. But there's no way to respond to this with this and not actually kidnap the spell. So if Spell Queller said you may kidnap the spell, then I would very happily have let them lose the 2 life. What am I doing? I'm dead. Let's just go to game 3. Do I want to change anything here? I think the answer might still be no. Yeah, no, we're good. So if we end up getting got by something like, say, a Misery Shadow again, then whatever, I'll be fake sad about not putting Portable Hole back in. But realistically, I think our plan's okay. And this 5-lander is actually not just the worst. So I've got both spell lands in hand, which means that if I draw a couple more land succession, I'll be pretty glad to like use this to kill a Bone Crusher Giant, for example. That'll be all right. But as it stands, like being on the play with this hand certainly isn't the worst. So let's just Island go, and no Thoughtseize there, which isn't bad for us either. So I'm just going to jam Selfless Spirit. If they have a Fatal Push, they have a Fatal Push. It looks like they don't. Sick. So not having Fatal Push is pretty great there. If they decide to like stomp this, then I can at least fizzle it by sacrificing. And now if they, oh, a Braid, whatever, you got it. Now I'm going to get to open up with a third mana, which is woo-hoo-hoo-hoo, Spell Queller, even better. I was going to say already makes me pretty happy since I get to absorb, but a Spell Queller is even better. Mausoleum Wanderer is actively pretty great, and I want Otawara to be the land here. I'm going to attack for 2, play this, and that actually might mask the fact that I have more instant speed stuff here. So if they just like try to resolve a Shelly, I don't mind just go blank. I'm just going to Rattle Chains. So I can Rattle Chains, giving Spell Queller hexproof. Mausoleum Wanderer is going to be a 2/2, and then I can use that to counter this. So this way, if they have a Fatal Push for Rattle Chains, they can just like do that. But it looks like they don't even have that. So take your 4, here's this, and I'm still holding up an Absorb. Extinction Event. So that can name odd, they can get this back. But remember what I was saying earlier about sweepers. So that's still something that's like fairly real on our minds and all that good stuff. Here, we attack, we play a land, and I am currently not doing anything anymore, which kind of sucks. Hopefully it's not, oh, haha. Joke's on you, my hand sucks. Okay, so they can stop that, that's fine. Not a fan, but ooh, am a fan of that. So I'm not going to play the Eiganjo, because there's a world in which I want to use it as an actual spell. If they abrade this, I can flash you in, make you a 3/4. That's not bad. Rank Buster I don't really care about. Ooh, choices. So I can, no, just untap. So my plan was that I could have made Spell Queller a 3/4 and then use the 3/4 to and then use the 3/4 to make this a 2-turn clock, but remember the abrade that we actually talked about playing around. So now I get a 3/4 anyway, and it's still a 2-turn clock. A bigger upside here is that now further abrades won't do anything. They don't have anything to get rid of for like a Fatal Push by itself. So now they're basically looking for Power Word Kill or Bust. And it looks like it was a bust. Hell yeah, let's go. 2-0. All right, last round here, we're playing against Jegantha. So this could mean a couple of things. If they're playing Jegantha and their Jegantha deck is one of the Gruul mid-range decks that wants Jegantha, then my Portable Holes are going to be really good against Elves, and I'm going to keep this hand because of that. If they are playing the slower version of this deck, that's not the Gruul vehicles, but is instead just like Fires of Invention stuff, then I'll be all right with Spell Queller Rattle Chains. So these are really bad in that example, but oh, it's Racksack. Okay, Portable Holes are going to feel really good then, because I can get rid of the cat, I can get rid of the Witch's Oven, and then I can follow up, hopefully, with the combination of like Petty Theft plus Spell Queller for a Mayhem Devil. Okay, now is this a Witch's Oven too? No. So here I want to, I'm just going to take the 2. So doing this lets me hold up Petty Theft in case they just jam a 3/3 down my throat, and I can untap and Spell Queller it. Blood Tithe Harvester? That's, I guess, worth a Petty Theft. Another Portable Hole. So here I can choose between Portable Hole plus Selfless Spirit or hold up Spell Queller / Brazen Bower, and I think I would rather do that. So if they just like attack me post-combat Blood Tithe Harvester, I don't mind going Spell Queller, untap, Portable Hole, holding up Rattle Chains. Here they don't have the ability to both claim the Firstborn and sacrifice, but it looks like I don't have to think about that. So here I'm just going to Portable Hold the Cauldron Familiar and give myself the ability to hold up Rattle Chains, protecting my Spell Queller. So if their follow-up is land Mayhem Devil, then it sucks to be me. I can't do anything about that. Most other options I'm fairly happy about. Yeah, like that's fine by me. And there, of course, is a claim to Firstborn. So that's been, I guess, kind of mitigated / played around. Harvester, I don't really care about. Since I have another Portable Hole, I still have. Dang it. I was hoping for a counterspell there. So I'm going to portable hold this Blood Tithe Harvester too. Sorry about your nefarious plans, opponent. Let's get an attack in, and this will be the last turn where I want to just hold up for Rattle Chains. Starting next turn, I can do Rattle Chains plus other stuff, which will be really nice. So this 4th land drop, not the counter spell I wanted, but still kind of a blessing in disguise here. So if they have something else to deal with Rattle Chains, honestly, so be it. Oh, crap. All right. Okay, that's not nothing. So now, if they want to attack with Mayhem Devil at some point, I have to assume they want to. They can, like, sacrifice this to deal with this. They can... God damn it, a 3rd claim to Firstborn? Opponent, please get a hobby. Anyway. I can't do anything about that, so that's just gonna happen. So, hopefully we just attack with Mayhem Devil. Yes, sir! And they can sacrifice this to kill by Rattle Chains, which honestly sucks, but at least we get to deal with the Mayhem Devil. They probably... Nope, never mind. No choices need to be made. They just have everything. Okay, so that's annoying. They still have the mana to have this deal with the rest of Wandering Emperor's loyalty here, or Rattle Chains. They can choose. Actually, no, they don't have to choose because they have a treasure. Never mind, they can just do everything. God, this card resolving even once is such a nightmare. I hate this fucking card. But thanks to the Wandering Emperor, it's at least somewhat managed here. Oh, they just have another Deadly Dispute? Yikes. Okay. Wait, okay, they did. And Den of the Bugbear's a follow-up land. Okay. So here I can do what? Mausoleum, Brazen Bower, untap, have Petty Theft, and Selfless Spirit as options? Yeah, let's do that. I would still, of course, prefer to just like have another land here. But if this is like the worst case scenario, I'm not exactly sad. I mean, I am a little sad because that one Mayhem Devil resolving the one time was already enough to almost deal with us by itself. But we're still at 13, they're at 10. I've got threats coming. I do need a plan for this, but a lot of their stuff has been somewhat managed, so okay. Enough complaining about Mayhem Devil. Lying, I'm still gonna complain about Mayhem Devil, y'all don't worry. Okay, getting rid of a blood token to get rid of the 4th claim to Firstborn? There are so many Firstborns being claimed today. I'm not going to do anything about this attack for 3. You can have that. I would instead rather just flash in my 3/1. Another Blood Tithe Harvester is fairly obnoxious. Oh, never mind. We just have all of the Blood Tithe Harvesters. All right, we are harvesting every single Blood Tithe. Understood. So now I'm going to go to 9, which is dangerous seeing 9 power on the table. I'm aware. I swear, y'all, I can count. So I'm just going to go ahead and attack here, and we are going to play Selfless Spirit here. So if they want to use some of their harvesters to stop my ability to, well, kill them, then I don't mind using a Brazen Bower on one of these harvesters to help facilitate that. If they want to use all of their mana firing this, come on, why? That's in the chat, everybody. Yeah, that sucks immensely. All right, so I gotta activate this, otherwise we're just dead to the Mayhem Devil that's on board. Side, I can also block the Mausoleum Wanderers now. I'm sorry, block with Mausoleum Wanderer. So that's at least not enough. They can use Blood Tithe Harvesters to still get rid of these if they want to. Okay, so I just don't have outs, right? Because they can just sacrifice 3 with 3 mana and kill me. Yeah, that sucks. Okay. Dead. Yeah, Mayhem Devil is still absolutely fucking obnoxious. So we want the Angels. I want the Aether Gusts. I don't really want the Hearse, even though we saw the cat combo. I think I'm still not really wanting that. So the Selfless Spirits can kind of go here. Brazen Bower is not great. Like, it's fine, but it's not actually good. And I want one less card. I guess I'm going to get rid of exactly 1 Spectral Adversary. Because I kind of like the Cemetery Illuminators against the cat combo, since it's not just graveyard removal like Unlicensed Hearse is, but having a threat that can draw cards and deal with the cat is pretty nice. A 1-lander is not. That's fine. This is okay. Well, let's get rid of the Pain Land here, and I don't know, this hand's okay. Not great, it's okay. So let's go Island Go and see what they open up with. It could be a Thoughtseize for this, it could be a cat. It is a cat. Meow. On its motion of meow has been recognized. So let's go ahead and portable hold this. See if they open up with a Witch's Oven, a Blood Tithe Harvester. Okay, you got it. And keep it real, it's only like medium annoying. So if I can Spell Queller something here, untap Wandering Emperor, then that'll feel pretty decent. Okay, 3rd land, you got it. Taking this 3, and let's see if they just like jam a Mayhem Devil. Another Blood Tithe Harvester. I still don't mind Spell Quellering that. Mausoleum Wanderer. Okay, so I don't want Mausoleum Wanderer right now. Yeah, confirming that. I don't really want a Mausoleum Wanderer right now. So what happens here? They can, like, I don't know, try to take this plus Deadly Dispute. That'd be miserable. But I don't have the defensive tools to do anything about that right now. So I'm just going to take this and go to 13. So if they jam a Mayhem Devil down my throat, what do I do about that? Looks like the answer is nothing. So let's see if this is going to walk into like a Rending Valley or something. It does walk into a Rending Valley, but that's fine because I already couldn't do anything about that. So I might as well get the value I can out of my Wandering Emperor. They do get a second blood token. That's kind of whatever. Let's get rid of you, get our 2 life, go to 15, and do the untap. And now you can be a 2/2, except now my hand is pretty lackluster, and they've got 2 bloods they can filter, a creature land they can activate, and a companion they can buy, whereas I'm just kind of like, I don't know, medium sad. Fatal Push. Okay, so it looks like my Wandering Emperor is dying to just an attack here too. Oops. Okay, so she's gone. So now, what do I want to draw? I guess I just want to draw like a giant angel, right? Like they can buy Gigantha, but that still loses to an angel. A Wandering Emperor is not bad though. Okay, I can deal with that. So if they just like jam this and attack here, I don't mind getting rid of that with Wandering Emperor, but okay, sure. So now I can just do this, get rid of the Harvester, then see what happens when I get to untap. Nope. Oh, that's ass. All right. A Memory Deluge would be kind of fantastic here, not gonna lie. I think I will actually just take this and go to 9. Like, I have a bunch of draws that can get this off the table, right? Like, well, not a bunch, but a few. Like, I can, like, Brazen Bower and then counter on the way back down or something similar. Oh, that's bad. Babel's actively really bad for us. Portable Hole. Nope, not what I wanted. It's a little bit too late for that card. So let's get rid of at least the token that we can get rid of. Get an attack in for 2. And I think I actually should block here, because I'm not really guaranteed to be allowed to block later. Oh, they got rid of Claim the Firstborn? I was dead. Yeah, that's a treasure. I was just dead. If they claim the Firstborn here, activate here with no cards in my hand, that's 10 damage. I'm at 9. So I assume I'm dead anyway, but what? That's still 9. Okay, fine. Well, we still lose to Mayhem Devil, which is sad times, but that's not any different from before. All right. Gameplay over, and honestly, this deck is still quite a bit of fun. So we got to play against 3 real decks too, which is really nice on the arena ladder because that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you'll just face against like some nonsense built out of cards people owned. But we did play against 3 real decks in 3 rounds, which is super nice. And I think our performance was pretty good, all things considered, right? Like, we beat up on Gruul Vehicles, which is definitely like a top 5 deck in Pioneer all the time. We beat up on Rakdos Midrange, which is just the best deck in the format. And we did lose to Mayhem Devil, but we already lost to Mayhem Devil with basically all versions of Spirits, so the fact that the matchup doesn't feel great against that doesn't really change anything. Like, we know that we're not playing things like Fateful Absence or like Supreme Verdict to get rid of those type of cards. And if you decide that there's a lot of Rakdos Sacrifice in your area and you really want to try putting a hurt on it, well, you're playing white. You can just choose to beat that deck. Like, you can play things like Devout Decree, Supreme Verdict, more copies of Brazen Bower if you want to. There's a lot of things that you can do against exactly the card Mayhem Devil, and I simply chose to not play those things today, knowing that this was a possibility. So it is what it is. You can't always beat everything with the same 75 cards. With that said, I really liked a lot of the white cards today, right? Like, Wandering Emperor had some really solid jobs, and when she, was relevant, she was great. We had Selfless Spirit, which came up a couple of times, both just as like a low-cost attacker, but also as a way to save things like Spell Queller, and a way to like give this the ability to block in some circumstances, even though we still died that game. Portable Hole, as we saw, was actively pretty great in a lot of matchups, right? Like, we saw Misery Shadow plus Blood Tithe Harvester out of Rakdos. We saw a bunch of Mana Dorks out of Gruul. And in this last matchup, they have things like Cat, Blood Tithe Harvester, Witch's Oven, all kinds of things where Portable Hole is pretty good. So having those in the main today was nice. And against all 3 of the decks we played against today, our life totals super mattered. So the fact that Absorb was the hard counterspell of choice also felt like a pretty good one. The only thing that this deck really wants that I didn't put more of in today was just hard ways to get more cards than you normally have access to. And if you want to do that in your lists, what you can do is play things like more Memory Deluges if you want. You can even play things like Omen of the Sea as a 2-drop, and then like Yorion as a companion if you want to go up to 80 cards. That's an option. You can play 5-drop Teferi in this deck instead of something like Wandering Emperor, Memory Deluge, or even some of the copies of like Spectral Adversary if you wanted to. You can just like choose to put Planeswalkers in your deck. Cemetery's Illuminators is another spot where Teferi could come in there. So like you could be a bigger deck that more closely resembles blue-white control than, I guess, blue-white spirits. Shark Typhoon is another really good option that you can give yourself access to as well. So if you don't want to play like Selfless Spirit and Cemetery Illuminator, that's 4 spots right there that you can just devote to being Shark Typhoons. And that's also not bad. Lots and lots of ways to customize this deck so that you can be as small or as large as you really want to without being fully blue-white control. Our sideboard, I really liked it. So the Angel package, we didn't draw the Angels in the games where they would have been relevant, but the one time that we did draw the Baneslayer and we got to play it, I was aware that Fry was an option. And remember, we even said, hey, if they have Fry instead of Rending Valley, fuck it, we'll just lose to it. But then we did lose to it because they had exactly Fry. So I guess they were ready for these things to come out. But that's okay because they still needed to be ready for these things. Like without their copy of Fry, our Baneslayer would have just won the game by itself. Aether Gust was really good in a couple of spots, right? Like we saw Mayhem Devil, we saw the Gruul deck, and Aether Gust is especially good against both of those things. We didn't face any of the decks where Dovin's Vetoes would have been really good, but I still really like cards like this against things like Creativity. The Bankbuster, it did get Thought Seized against the Rakdos deck, the one time we did actually see it and it came up. But honestly, I'd rather have them discard this than like, I don't know, our Rattle Chains where they're playing a bunch of removal, right? So like this still did its job, this didn't come up, and we had a couple of games in which we could have put in Settle the Wreckage, but I don't really think it was necessary in the matchups that we saw. So overall, the list, pretty satisfied. We did lose to a deck that honestly we just expect to lose to all the time anyway, so the fact that we did lose to it really doesn't hurt my feelings. But the fact that we performed great against Rakdos and Gruul, decks that are going to come up a lot more often than Racksack, I'm pretty happy. So let me know if you like this list. Put it in the comments. What did you like about this list? What did you think was weird? What did you dislike? I don't know. Let me know. Also, if you have played something similar to this, then hey, you know, what are you doing? I can learn new things. But that's going to be it for today's gameplay. As always, if you like what you're watching, make sure to like the video, let me know, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see y'all on the next one.